Alrighty. I'm in one of my favorite parks around the Big Bend area called Torreya. And if you notice, there are some definite burn marks around. If you can see that this one's been burned. But I wanted to talk about fire and trials. But you can see how this place has been regenerated. And in order for something to live here, there's a lot of, they're called longleaf pines, and they don't grow without fire. These big things on the ground, that's longleaf pine. But the fire, yes, fire can do a lot of damage and get out of control, and depending on how it's done. There's a prescribed fire where it's maintained and controlled, and then we have out of control wildfires that can destroy hundreds of thousands of acres, especially out west where it's dry and wind driven. They can go upwards of 60-80 miles an hour when they're wind driven and on the plains. And yes, they can be devastating, but nature always comes back. You can see how things are greening up. Looks like they had a fire, and what trees do is they lose their lower limbs, or they get burned out. It's called ladder fuel, and if those flames are able to get to the top of the crown, that's the end of the tree. But if it's a ground fire, long leaves have so thick of a bark that they won't be hurt. But I'm on a part of Torreya that I haven't really been, but there's like little cliffs and parts of it that I didn't realize about, and you kind of feel like you're looking out on things. And I'm just out here with my dog, and it's just, I don't know, different. But it's like fire. Trials can come in our life and test us and refine us. And God does that with His holy fire. He wants to purify us, and He uses trial and tribulation and all kinds of different things to purify us and get us to where we need to be. Are these things fun? Not really. But they're necessary. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out where to go. I didn't realize I'd be going down. I'm going downstairs. But yes, these are longleaf pines. This is a pretty cool area. It has cliffs. I wasn't expecting this. I'm on actually, what is this considered? It's right when you get in the park. There's a pull off really close to the entrance before you get to the pay box. But this park was named after the Torreya tree, which is a majorly endangered tree that only grows in very few spots. And it kind of looks like a U. The leaves are very different than a normal tree. And you can have to just look it up, but sorry, off track. Anyway, but yes, God uses fire and tribulation and different people to refine us into the people that God wants us to be. Yes, He uses these things because, in order to be His people and do the certain things that He wants and lead the lives that He wants us to lead, He has to guide us. And yeah, some of these trials can be bad. Some of these trials can be losing a loved one. Some of these trials could be, losing dogs, losing jobs. But throughout my life, I don't even know how many jobs I've had. It's upwards of 20 to 30 jobs in various locations throughout the U.S. And I up to this point, it's like this. As I look back on my life, it's a convoluted mess of just circumstances and not knowing why and where I'm going. And a lot of the things that I've done in my past, I have a fight or flight instinct. And this is Toby, by the way. But my flight, when things got tough and I didn't see a way of dealing with the circumstances, I ran. I stupidly ran. Toby, this way. Hey, come this way. But so I've lived in 13 different states, but God has always been there, and He's always been faithful. And we have to be open to His leadings and what He wants. But in our modern day society, the devil has invented ways of completely distracting us. And it's not until we get into places like this, and you saw those cliffs that I was in, I didn't even know we're here. But God gets us, he wants us undistracted. And the devil has come up with all kinds of things to be distracted by, including gaming and TV and music, and he'll do things that the devil knows what you want that'll get you distracted and get you off of the path that God intends for you. And it's just like this path. There's a lot of woods and a lot of places I could go, but there's this path ahead of me that I know is a path because it looks like a trail. But I also have a dog that's pretty good at finding the trail. Sometimes he goes off the trail, just like us. Sometimes it's like, oh, there's a sniff or something and then so we go off the trail and we end up going off the cliff or doing something stupid. But we need to basically get on back on the trail and yeah, keep going where God wants us to go. But you can see these trees have been scorched, and one cool thing about these trees is they have really big pine cones. You can see from here, but these pine cones are well, here's one. So yes, this pine cone right here, so that pine cone is pretty big. So I would say it's about 6 inches. The spread of my index finger to my thumb is about six inches. And in order to open these things up, it requires fire to open them up. I think it's called Serotonin. And there's also wiregrass that also doesn't grow unless it's been hit by fire. But yes, it's a cool area. But yeah, here's a little off the beat. But yeah, it says that the British developed turpentine and timber industries during the late 1700s when they controlled Florida. The picture set provided material for sealing the bottoms of sailing ships, and the tall, straight pine trunks made excellent masts for British merchant and warships. You could look for the scarred trunks and pine stumps along the trail, evidences of later turpentining and logging in this area. So yeah, turpentine was used, and what they would do is they would scrape into these trees, and it gives off and this turpentine is basically like the tree's way of trying to heal the scar, kind of like our scabs on our skin, and so it's the tree's way of healing. And I mean, it's just like in our lives. I mean, God provides healing through various things. I mean, I feel myself getting renewed being in here. I mean, this park is incredible. You just have to make sure that you have all the necessary gear when being in this park, because they can bite you if you're not paying attention. It's called the Treya Challenge. It's over on that side, and my dog and I did, and I stupidly went off trail and thought I could follow a creek, and ended up running into a whole lot of trees, and then I had to scamper up a vine-covered hill that was not fun. It was a lot of pain, and that was during the summer, and ran out of water. Thought I was gonna faint, but yes, this is a very cool park. If you're ever around this area, I would strongly recommend you to come out here. And this is the one part of Florida that it makes you feel like you're in mountainous area, because of the Apalachicola that runs along it. It brings a lot of the seeds from like Alabama and Georgia down here. So things that are around it. Sorry. So it has a lot of different nature around. Like it can have things that are not supposed to be here because of the river. The reason why I'm pointing down at the ground is just like in our life, there can be things that pop up, and these are deer trail. It is hunting season, but I'm on a state park, and I think at certain times of the year they'll allow hunting. but God provides us ways of seeing things around us and ways of getting back on the right trail. But we have to go to Him. We have to fast, which in other words, don't eat, and pray, and just take the appropriate trails. And sometimes there's a choice as to which way to go, and the choice is not clear and evident. Like this right now, I came to a trail, and I don't know quite which way to go. But God has a map that He uses, just like I'm about to use a map. But yeah, this is the map. But yes, this is a pretty cool area, and there's actually Civil War impoundments as it's along a major river. The Apalachicola goes into the Gulf, and it was one of the main, or before they dammed it up, you could have taken this river sorry for blacking out, but you could have taken this river to Alabama and to Georgia and to other places. Well, and sometimes this is a perfect example of life. There are trails that this is obviously marked off, that we go down. This is a perfect example of life, where we go down a trail and then we find out there's actually an orange thing across the trail. So sometimes we have to backtrack and go down a different path. So this is a perfect example of what I'm getting at. But I don't know, getting outdoors like this is fun. Toby, this way. Gotta go this way. But But yes, so God wants us to rely on Him, and He allows fire and trials to hit so we can rely on Him more. There's a big trial coming. I don't know how quickly or when it's going to hit. We may already be in it, called the tribulation. And it's just God's way of waking people up, because people stubbornly want this world over what God provides. And I understand, because this world, I mean, we have fun games we can play, we have movies that we can watch, and the devil has made fun things that we can all do and watch and experience, and go to amusement parks and listen to cool music that has good beats to it. But the more that we are of the world, the more that we are away from God, and it says that when we're friends with the world, we're enemies of God. But so God's trying to get us back on track. He's trying to just like those two dead ends that I just went on, God wants us to get back on track and go to the right place and do the right thing. But I'm following deer yet again. And animals, as a sidebar, well, I don't know, it's kind of along the same line. They take the path of least resistance. If there's a trail and that's where they want to go, they will follow the trail. And a lot of times they'll use the same trails over and over and over again. But but it's like us. I mean, God provides a trail and means to go down the trail. But there's sometimes that He provides, like it looks like we're going down a trail and we hit a block, and God wants us to have Him be incorporated into our lives and to talk to Him and rely on Him. And sometimes we have a disease that pops up, or have a set of circumstances that we're like, okay, well, there's no way out of this one. And that's when God wants us to go to Him the most and ask Him. It's like, okay, well, I'm in this circumstance and I don't know how to deal with it, and the only way that I can get through this is by You. So please help me. And I did another video, by the way, of childlike faith. Well, I haven't posted it yet, but childlike faith, and its means of trusting Him without doubting, without saying, oh, well, why am I going through this? And I mean, as adults, we doubt and we think that, oh, well, this can't be the way. And so we end up getting off track. Or doing something stupid that we shouldn't have. But yes, I mean, being out in places like this, it helps take all the pressures away. It allows your mind to be more freer. You can think out here. You don't have people screaming at you. You don't have issues coming at you. You can just think and live and be. But I mean, it's just a matter of finding those places, and sometimes it's getting harder to drive because of the gas prices and other things. And I do see things coming, like the end of the dollar, but I don't know how far that is off. But I'm going to put one foot in front of the other and take it life as it comes, and that's sometimes all we can do. God doesn't want us to know the future. I mean, if you knew the future and knew exactly different things in your life, do you really think that would go better. I mean, we would freak out. I mean, if there were some things there's some things now that I'm facing that if you would have told me 10, 15, 20 years ago that I'd face, I would be like, nope, I'm not doing this. But because God gives a little bit of a time and gives you the strength and courage to keep going, it's made me a lot stronger, a lot brighter, and made me rely on Him. Yes, there's been many, many times where I've crashed and burned. I'm in a situation now. I don't make a whole lot of money. I mean, I make, and I'm not in the best of circumstances living at my parents' house, but I have no choice. Because, Toby, slow down. Because I don't make enough money, and this world is getting more and more and more expensive. But at least I have a roof over my head. I have my health. I have parks like this I can go to, and God does provide. We may not like some of the things but He provides us what we need to live. And He knows ways of getting us to look beyond our circumstances. He knows ways of just, I don't know, we can do things differently. But yes, you can hear birds and wind and just, you know, I encourage you to get out there. But yes, there are many trials like fire that come along and will challenge us. And it's for us to go to God, rely on Him, because I think we're basically a spiritual essence, soul, living in a body. And I think we are so much stronger than we think we are. But and I don't know how to tap into that, or what God wants, but I'm learning, and what I learn, I'll pass on. Yeah. Hopefully you've liked my little journey down the trail. I'm going to keep going, but yes, now I'm encountering rocks in the trail. So yes, I mean, your trail may be bumpy at times. It may go downhill at certain points and go back uphill at certain points. But God didn't promise an easy life. He says, this world hates me and it'll hate you. So right now, I believe in the U.S., Christians are kind of left alone in a lot of ways. But I think that there is going to be a clampdown in the near future with regards to how we worship and where we can worship. And I think they're going to outlaw the Bible in the near future. But yes, just rely on God, follow His plan in His life. Thank you for joining me. But yes, there's some cool parks around. Thank you, and bye for now.